Hey brothers, what's up? JK with PornReboot here. I want to talk about being hard on yourself. So many men who are trying to quit porn, who are trying to control their behavior with masturbation, are just so hard on themselves. Like, you guys are obsessed with ending your behavior, but you're really extreme in the standards that you set for yourself. And that's not how the rebooting process works. You want to get through this without even slipping once. You want to get through this without watching pornography once. And you have this belief that if you slip once and watch porn, that you've undone all your work. And you give in to that emotion. What this just demonstrates is that while you might be making progress, you're not growing emotionally. You can't call yourself an emotionally mature person when you've gone for 6-7 months without watching pornography. You slip, and then you just go into this downward spiral. You feel so bad for yourself. You feel like you've lost everything. Emotional maturity means that you also have the ability to look at your emotion objectively. You can look at that emotion and go like, okay, I'm feeling bad. You can also look at the situation objectively. I feel really bad, but honestly, is it that bad? I mean, it's been a great 6 months. Like, everything's been amazing. I haven't really been using a system. I've just been using willpower, plus my flatline has been there, so I just haven't had the urge. I've been very busy with projects. Why am I making this such a big deal? This is just one slip. I should be more concerned about not slipping again tomorrow or a couple of days from now. So why am I feeling so bad? That's emotional maturity there. The ability to objectively look at that emotion, process the emotion, right? You process it, for instance, by going like, okay, I feel really bad because maybe I've been counting days. I've been counting days and I've become so attached to those days, right? I've been slapping myself on the back and saying, good job, another day off porn, and being so attached to those days. I forgot that the reboot process has ups and downs, even though the down may be 6 months later or weeks later. What are some of the irrational thoughts I'm having? Oh, I'm having an irrational thought, and that irrational thought is, man, you relapsed, so all your work is undone, right? So emotional maturity is the ability to examine that irrational thought and go like, no, actually, all the work I've done is not undone. It's just a relapse, and I can get back on the horse, and it doesn't cancel out all those days. Another irrational thought could be, well, that means I'm going to be an addict for the rest of my life. No, you're not going to be an addict for the rest of your life because you slipped once in 6 months, right? So I could keep going on, but you guys get the idea. Whenever I talk about a system, part of a system is teaching you how to deal with these irrational thoughts that are followed up by irrational behavior whenever you slip, right? And there's no point in rebooting without a system if every few months you're going to play this game with yourself. We have guys who go, the worst case are those who go a year or 2 years and they slip. And then, some of these guys, somebody shared on Facebook, I happened to click on it. I usually don't watch other guys' videos, as you all know. But somebody shared that this person, relapsed after a year or 2 years. I don't know how long he's been off porn. But it was this huge deal where, he was sharing it and he feels so bad and his emotions. And I'm like, what I was thinking is, how can you call yourself a person who inspires others, a person who is a model for others to end their out of control behavior, when you are falling apart on camera because of a slip or even because of a relapse? Sure, it's vulnerable. Sure, it makes you more human to your audience, right? I get it. but it doesn't demonstrate emotional maturity, which is actually a key step in controlling your behavior, right? If you did slip and you did fall apart, I believe it's important to, whether you share it or not, it's up to you. There needs to be a very important lesson there. But I believe you also need to demonstrate your emotional resilience. You need to demonstrate the fact that you can handle this in a rational manner. That's what inspires people. But I've noticed that a lot of guys are putting those who are in a position where they can support others, those who others look up to them, they're putting connection with their audience over being a leader, right? You lead people. There's a time to be vulnerable, but they need to see certain qualities within you that they aspire to, right? I went off on the side a little bit on that because I just happened to see a little bit of that video and I clicked off, so I may not even have the full story. But some of our clients get to, 2 years porn-free or a year and a half porn-free, and then they have a slip or they relapse. They feel bad about it. But I can guarantee you that nobody goes through the PornReboot program and is beating themselves up. They may have gained a lot of things in that 1 year, right? They may have gotten a new job. They may have had a kid. They may have gotten married. Their relationship is so much better. They are not going to undo all those things that they have accomplished over that, we call it reboot capital, right? They may have gained reboot capital in different areas of their life. They're not going to let go of all their reboot capital because of a relapse. But that is what many of you are doing. You then begin to sabotage everything because you had a little bit of a taste of your past, which you hate. All that self-loathing and all that self-hate comes back just because of one slip. You are reminded of your weakness. You're reminded of the pain, and you can't handle those reminders. That's why you need a system. You need to learn how to handle it. You need to learn to accept the fact that, it's real. You are human. And you are a man who has a porn addiction or a masturbation addiction. That's okay. But it doesn't mean that you are sentenced to that. If you do that with your porn addiction, you're doing it with other things in your life. You're doing it with things like fear. Maybe you had fear of approaching women or fear of dating, and you've had this great dating streak for years. You're dating, you're meeting these wonderful women, and then one day something happens in your life and your confidence is a little bit shook. So you're not able to approach a certain woman, or you go on a date and you act like a complete fool. Then everything unravels from there. Oh, I'm actually still that guy. I'm still that loser. I can't believe I'm that guy. Oh my God, I might as well stop trying. Everything was fake. Everything was a failure. Holding yourself to an unrealistic standard. Why? Sometimes it's not your fault. Sometimes it's the fault of other people who are giving you the illusion that your life needs to be absolutely perfect. That's one of the reasons why I've never shared such an illusion with men. I tell men, if you come into our program, you are probably going to slip. And that's okay, right? It would be easy to get people into our course, which is an amazing course, by the way. It would be very easy to do that by saying that you're never going to slip over 90 days. Oh, so many people would flock to that. But that's bullshit. But there are a lot of people who give people that impression, right? That it has to be perfect. We are human, right? So guys, my message to you today is stop holding yourself to impossible standards. You slip, so the fuck what? You had a relapse, okay, so what? Learn something from it. Don't deny the emotion that comes up. I know it sucks, it feels like shit, you feel bad, but nobody is perfect. I'm not perfect. I'm not saying I relapse and slip, but I'm just saying that if you're out there looking at people and whatever it is, people sharing their stories of staying off porn or they stop fapping, and you're building this story that they are perfect, it is not true. Nobody's like that. And the sooner you can start accepting that reality, the better. And if you're wondering, well, how do I start accepting it? A good place to start is to be in the right community. A community where you can actually see men who are making progress, but they're slipping. And it's okay, but you see these men's progress. And you start seeing that the things that really matter are the fact that their internal life is changing. They're learning to love themselves again. They're learning to understand the way that they think, their faulty thinking. They're beginning to identify the errors that they make and some of the beliefs they have which are wrong. They're learning to forgive others. They're learning to develop positive qualities. They're learning to be self-disciplined. They're learning to be more healthy. They're learning how to be more social and deal with people in a way that isn't creating shame. At the same time, they're letting go of a lot of their shame. All these things they're simple to teach for me anyway, but it's not easy to implement, right? And you've got to see what the process is actually like, I believe. You've got to see that it has its ups and downs. But so many of you are out there, and because you're out there and you're not with like-minded people, don't get me wrong, you might be out there with a bunch of other guys who are beating themselves up. If you hang out with guys who beat themselves up after a year and say like, oh my God, I relapse, is the end of the world, then all of you have a little bitch fest, a little pity party in the comment section or in the forum or wherever you hang out, well, you're just gonna be like those guys. But if you're in the right place where you see men falling down, and you may be tempted to reach out to them using your old habit. Oh man, yeah, it sucks. I had that experience too. And you're surprised when the guy gets up, dusts himself off, and he's like, thanks for that, bro, but I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep counting. I'm not going to start from day one. Or rather, I'm not going to count. I'm not starting from day one. I'm just going to continue on my journey. That might make you step back and go like, oh, wow, okay. Like, this guy isn't bitching with me. He has no interest in complaining. He just fell and he got back up and he kept moving. Man, that's a quality I'd like to have. A good place to do that is in our free Facebook group. There's a link to it in the description below, or you can find it on Facebook by searching for PornReboot. You'll see a picture of me, you'll see our logo and all that good stuff. But that is my message for you guys today. Have a wonderful day, and I'll speak to you later in the week. Bye.